Howdy, 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 howdy. We are back. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice coming to you.
This is not.
Oh, I did it again. I'm watching these buttons.
You were on a run there. You were on a roll, but obviously you're upset from what happened last night.
Oh, I'm totally beside myself. This whole Habs thing in the last week has turned into a nightmare for me. Maybe that's a Freudian slip. I don't really even feel like doing the show.
You don't really want to do Habsolutely.
No, I don't. I don't want to do the show today because I'm pissed off.
Yikes!
You got a good point. I'm on fire here today. I'm pissed off. I'm mad. But my name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Habsolutely coming to you live.
Bonjour, mes amis. Habsolutely.
And my co-host John Filion is going to calm me down during the show because I'm going to be. Oh, I'm ready to spit fire today.
Easy, like Sunday morning.
Serenity now. Serenity now. Serenity now. Hello out there in video land. You're going to have to put up with me for an hour. And it might not be pretty, believe me.
Well, it couldn't be any less prettier than last night, could it?
Oh, I couldn't even watch the third period. The vice president debate was on, and I flipped it off. I mean, I watched 2 periods of that nonsense with the referees and Jack Guy and Doc getting clobbered and a 2-minute penalty. Jack Guy getting an interference, a 5-minute interference penalty I never even heard of before, and then getting thrown out of the game. 3 goals on 5-minute major to him, and that was the end of the game that Montreal had fully in control. They were skating away with this thing, looking good, and then it all collapsed.
They were definitely on the thin ice of a new day. What can we say?
Well, it was absolutely a nightmare.
What a difference a week makes.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. We were 5-0, 3-0 or whatever. We had looked really good.
A week ago, we were here and we had smiles everywhere.
Well, we had a bottle of champagne celebrating the season.
Everybody was ecstatic. We were like, this is the way to start off the preseason on a fabulous, first-rate note, and get into that winning habit. And since then, we're developing a losing habit.
I don't know. This black cloud went over Montreal or something. I mean, holy snappers against the Leafs. It was just another nightmare. Lonnie gets taken out. No penalty call, by the way, on that one. For some reason, the refs didn't see something or whatever.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think there was a penalty on that play.
No?
I didn't see it.
Well, then he deserved it, I guess.
I don't think he deserved it, but I think Lonnie has to. Again, one of your favorite plays is the onboarding of a power play. And so what happens generally now is one of the defensemen picks up the puck, he rushes it towards his center ice line and throws the puck back. And then the opposition line up along the blue line, waiting for finally the puck carrier to try to cross that blue line, and they try to check him out.
Yeah, and that's it.
And that's exactly what happened. Everybody held their position, and inevitably we had a collision.
And it makes me mad because you got some beer league guys who are never going to play in the NHL probably on the ice trying to make a mark and hit these players and that. And I don't think the guy did it on purpose, this Pare guy, but the natural reaction is you got a guy who's AHL caliber. He's not a professional. He's not as fast as the other guys. He doesn't know the game as well. And the guy's going by him. So, he's kind of gotten a tendency to try to stop him. And part of that is sticking out his leg and, whatever happened. But still,
I will say this, Lonnie is,
that makes me mad.
Lonnie, that was what? Lonnie's fourth game? Since he hadn't played hockey for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And he really, needed to choose. He probably needed to make a better decision when he approached that line and saw that it was a jam, basically, a log jam, to pass off that puck.
Yeah, well, it's preseason, so you're hoping this stuff doesn't happen in preseason. You pay $8.7 million for the guy. Everybody's touting him as the savior of this year. Which, if he performed, he did. But we have to remember, there's no guarantees with him.
There are no guarantees with anyone, number one. And number two, Lonnie still had to get his game legs. I
Yeah.
mean, they were still trying to integrate him into playing on a line and
Sad.
just getting back to hockey. It's sad that he'd been injured for so long, had worked extremely hard to get to a better place mentally and physically, and was just starting to and be on the cusp of that, and then have that taken away from him so quickly.
That terrible, terrible accident.
But the good news
is that we're here and we're still breathing and we're alive.
That Lonnie may only be out for 2 or 3 months, maybe a little more, but that he's not going under surgery, and I think that is good news.
Well, that definitely is good news. When you have to go into the knife, you know darn well that that's not good news. So that's better than having to go under the knife, I guess. But at the end of the day, we wish none of this stuff would happen. Reinbacher's out the same way. But
Reinbacher's out for 6 months.
Yeah.
He did have surgery.
Yeah, well, he's 19 years old, so, he's going to come back pretty quick. They usually do come back quick, these guys, right?
I don't think you're going to see Reinbacher play
this year.
I mean, he's not going to play in the NHL this year.
No.
He may play some AHL games near the end.
I don't think he was going to play in the NHL this year anyway. So, but, you hate to see your players injured, especially guys you picked 5th in the draft, and a lot of people are looking at it now going, Michkov and Demidov. That'd be a pretty nice combination. Crosby, Malkin, Kane, Taves. Yeah.
We still have a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, we still got a long way, as Alice Cooper said. We still got a long way to go. But first off, before we get into any of that, and we already started.
And I just want to reiterate that this is Habsolutely brought to you today
by Your City, Your Voice.
Niagara Falls, 4680Q. Like us on our Facebook. Leave comments.
And YouTube. Comments.
And as well, subscribe, please.
But
merci beaucoup.
This is our 100th show.
Woo!
So this is our 100th show today.
Show of hands.
And you know what? I want to dedicate this show, Johnny Boy, to Rick Rose.
Excellent choice.
Rick Rose was the person who owned 4680Q, and he passed away on July 14th this summer. Well, not this summer, last summer. This summer?
This past summer.
What do you say? How do you say that?
This past summer, I would say.
Yep, this past summer. That's the way to say it.
And
Rick passed away, but he was a huge Habs fan.
I mean, I still can't get over the fact that he was the inspiration for why we're here today.
He was. I mean, he was the one who, big Habs fan. He said, Paul, like I do Your City, Your Voice too, obviously. I keep saying it. But he always said, why don't you do a show about the Habs? We're both big Habs fans and keep people informed about what's going on with the Habs. And I said, great. And the first thing I told him is I'm going to get my buddy, John, he knows John too, to do it because we're both big Habs fans. We went to high school together, followed the Habs in high school, became best friends, and the rest is 70-year-old history, But here we are today, and it's because of Rick Rose, who said to get this, and it helped him to keep up with the Habs too, because he was a big Habs fan, but he didn't follow it like we did.
No. Nobody follows it like we do.
Well, there's only one guy I know that follows it like we do, and that's Drew Deeks.
Drew Deeks, well, he's trying.
He's trying.
And
we love Drew Deeks.
Nobody follows it like we do.
And the Shaner. How about the Shaner?
No, nobody follows it like we do.
And the hockey junkie.
Because they all follow it. But we follow it in a different way because of our background.
Because of our Jack Daniels.
Our affiliation with L'Équipe de Canadienne.
Yeah, well, the past. We have the past. And so did Rick, right?
Absolutely.
And, we want to thank Rick for allowing this to happen. And we want to thank our guests over 100 shows as well, which Drew Deeks still is a big part of it. Jack White, Rick Walmsley, Larry Landon. All these guys were here. The list
goes on.
Yeah, all these guys were here to support us. And if you don't know who they are, well, you better look them up because they were Habs. And they all encouraged us to continue on with the show. And we thank them for that. We thank Rick. And we're dedicating the show to Rick Rose, our 100th show, and let's hope we're around for another 100 shows.
Absolutely.
So, like I say, after last Saturday's games, I was a changed man.
Yikes.
I went from being a card playoff believer to a great draft pick believer. I know it's just preseason, but too much happened over the last 3 games now. It was 2 games when I wrote this. That we just can't ignore what's going on. And we'll get into that a bit later. But you know what we have to do right now?
Yeah, I absolutely.
Okay.
Habs trivia.
You got it. And this is a good one. Only 6 NHL players have scored 2 Stanley Cup clinching goals.
Only 6 players in history.
NHL history.
Wow.
4 of them were from the Montreal Canadiens.
4. Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. That's because we have won 24 Stanley Cups. The question is, which Habs legend did it first?
Oh.
And I'm going to give you the 4 names.
Okay.
Howie Morenz.
That's a good name.
We love Howie Morenz. He was, was he Boom Boom Jeffrey On's father-in-law?
Correct.
Right?
Say two.
Yes.
Mais oui.
Number 2, the Rocket.
The all-time, the best hockey player ever.
Number 3, Toe Blake.
Toe Blake. Wow. Well, that's a name that I wouldn't have said.
And number 4, Oriel Joliet.
Oriel Joliet. Well, we know Morenz, Joliet, and Blake all played well before the Rocket. So that negates the Rocket being. What was the question? Being the first, right?
Yeah, who was the first of our legends to get those 2 Stanley Cup clinching goals?
That negates the Rocket, because Rocket, I'm sure, got 2 of them. And I would think Pocket might have too. I remember, I can recall watching Henri Richard slide the puck with his arm past Roger Crozier in, I think, 1965 to win the Stanley Cup championship.
There you go.
And that's ingrained in my brain. So it's between Morenz, Joliet, and Blake. I'm going to say Oriel Joliet.
Oriel Joliet. Well, the feat was accomplished by 4 Habs players. Henri Richard, you had him nailed. Jacques Lemaire.
Ooh, c'est bon.
And I don't have the 4th one. But the guy who did it first, I put Henry Richard down first. I love the guy. So I put him down twice. So there's another guy in there.
Did Rocket do it once too? No.
Nope. Okay. But the guy who did it first was Hector Toe Blake.
Wow.
He was the first of the 4 who did it.
There you go. And that's the one I would never brought up in my mind and thought Toe Blake. Never would have thought.
Now, he was not only a legendary Hall of Fame player, winning the Cup 3 times as a player, but also went on to coach the Habs, of course, to 8 Stanley Cups for a total of 11 Cups.
Blake has always kind of lived in the shadow of Richard as a player, even though he started earlier than Richard and probably was the Rockets, he was the mentor for the Rocket, I think he probably helped to mold the Rocket to be the great hockey player that he became.
Yeah, playing with them and then coaching them.
Exactly.
Ultimately coaching them.
Absolutely.
So he scored the Cup clinching goal in the 1944 Cup Finals against the Chicago Blackhawks, winning the game 5-4 in overtime. And in the 1946 series against Boston, Blake scored the 4th goal of the game, which turned out to be the winning goal because they won 6-3 to clinch the Cup.
Fantastic.
So that's an interesting thing I never knew, and I would have never been able to answer
Did you know who was playing with the Habs for both those games?
Oh, gosh. Let's see, what year did I say? 44 and 46?
44, 46.
Bobby Fillion.
Mais oui.
Who scored the 2nd goal when they won 6-3.
C'est très bien.
There you go, Bobby Fillion.
Yes.
Now, I got a follow-up here. Because it's our 100th show, I have to add a bonus question for you.
Bonus!
When did Habs celebrate their 100th anniversary? Their centennial. What year?
I think it was 2007. let's see. So it was 1917, I think, was the first year of the Habs, like the Montreal Canadiens. Is that right? Or was it 1907? It was one of those. So I think it's 2017.
It was 2009.
2009.
1909 was when the
1909,
Club de Hockey
Club de
Montreal
Hockey
started. Yep. They celebrated during both the 2008-2009 season by having the 2009 All-Star Game in Habsland and having the NHL entry draft there as well.
Nice.
And they also retired 3 uniform numbers that year.
Wow.
Number 33.
Patrick Roy.
That's right. Number 16.
Henri Rocket Richard.
No, Elmer Locke.
Oh, okay.
In his honor. And number 3.
Number 3, J.C. Tremblay.
And Emile Bouchard. That's the 3, along with creating a special logo for the jerseys. If you remember, it said 100 with the banner. Yeah, it was really nice.
C'est très bien.
And they had a lot of other celebrations of the year. I thought I'd mention that because it's our 100th show.
Oh, and the 100th anniversary of They Keep the Canadian.
That's right. So it works in. So now that we've had enough of this
little bit of
histoire and trivia, we all know people like that. If you don't, go like this.
You must like that.
But I think people like it.
How can you not? Because that is exactly what this team is all about. And I mean, and it surfaced again on Monday when you had a guy named Marty St. Louis do a press conference after the practice and kind of almost well up, talking about the fact that the Habs, have tried to onboard and make everything right for Laine to give him the best opportunity of coming back and playing fabulous hockey in the NHL. And that, and he spoke about a house is not a home, and how the culture of this team is everybody is part of the family, and how they had made Laine part of their family and welcomed him to L'Équipe de Canadien.
And he appreciates that because he showed up on crutches to the practice.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of players, when they get hurt, they don't come around. But, Laine wants to be on this team. He wanted more than anything to be playing hockey for the Montreal Canadiens. And that's the kind of player you want to have on your team. Somebody who wants to be there every day. 110, 20, 30%, whatever you want to say.
That was inspiring to see him on his crutches behind the bench there. I really, really like that because it shows that he's with it, and he wants to be part of it, even though he got hurt. I mean, he could have just put his leg up at home and said, I'm not walking around with this.
I can't say enough about the fact that culture, that attitude exists in la Ville de Montréal and la Belle Province of Quebec. And that's really, it has so much to do with that, about people, how tight they become and how they surround and support each other. And I don't really, there's cities in the NHL like New York Islanders. Think about the New York Islanders.
Do I have to?
Not really, but just remember that at one point they won, I think, 4 Stanley Cups or something like that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and he popped in.
Do you think the New York Islanders, they still exist, right? They're still in the NHL.
I think so.
Exactly. We don't know. We can't even remember because they don't continue to have that support from, I think, their fan base, from the geographical area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It kind of swings in and it swings out. But with Montreal, it's always there.
The heritage.
Always there. And that's what's the key to this team, the key to the passion of the fans. Fans hold tight. I mean, injuries are going to happen. But I believe that the game plan is still there. The rebuild is still on the right course, the right path. That's why we have so much depth, and it's taking some time, but it's happening.
Okay, I got to go along with you on that. I'm beside myself because of the preseason games. I couldn't wait for the preseason to start. Now I can't wait for it to end. So
Well, we've
that's
had
all I
some,
have.
we've
It's
had
disappointing.
some bad luck, eh?
Yeah, we've had some bad
We've
luck
had
there
some
by
bad
the
luck.
G's.
I mean, with the injuries for
Oh,
sure.
by the G's, yeah.
But at the same point, we've seen some highlights. We've seen some big sparks from guys like Lane Hudson. Logan Mailloux looks like he's always been on the defense. I love Stugel.
He laid a terrible hit, or not a terrible, a terrific hit on a guy last night. That he gave him a shot, man.
And his passing,
it was clean.
His passing is fantastic.
Oh, he's been good.
So,
and I'm happy for the guy because I like Struble last year. We have so many defensemen that have the potential to come up, and he's kind of been lost in the mix of Savard, Mailloux, Hudson, Gooley, but not anymore. I think he might be the guy, one of the mainstays.
I mean, we know Savard and we know Matheson are going to leave us probably in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah,
but I think Struble could be an important cog in this team, and he may shine a little more light because of losing players like Reinbacher and seeing who actually gets on board. The same thing with like Kapanen and who was the other player?
Heineman.
Yeah, like they were playing magnificent hockey last night.
Yeah, and Engstrom too. I mean, he's defense, right?
Yes. So, and let's face it, last night we did break down in a few areas. One was PP, as you continually speak about the fact that we don't have a power play yet, and our PK obviously last night struggled in a major way, and our goaltender Hayden Primo, I mean, his struggle was on the PK.
Yeah, well, I mean that 5-minute major, it just wears you out. They scored 3 goals on it.
It's a big struggle.
Yeah.
The I think I mean, and they had a 5th goal, which really was a goal. I mean, yeah, of course it was a minor callback because it was offside, but consider, and I think that was on the power play as well.
Yeah, and we lost one because it was just a millisecond past the end of the period.
So those things happen. So but I think the other thing that we have to consider is how we deal with our temper.
I have that problem.
Well, you were so angry today.
Yeah, I smashed my car into a house and I kicked the door in John's car when he pulled up.
But besides that, you weren't sure what show we were doing.
Yeah, totally out of it. Totally.
And everybody is struggling to get on this team and try to make their way. And I mean, you're watching Lane Hudson, and sometimes I think he's spending too much time out there. He's trying to show that he can contribute. Obviously, if you score a goal, the play stops, so you can get a break. But if you don't put the puck in the net, then you got to be ready to come back and skate the length of the ice. Arbor Jack guy.
No, what can I say?
I mean, we all would love Arbor Jack guy to be an intensive defenseman. We want him to carry the clout so that players on our team don't get picked on. But we don't need Jack guy to pretend he's Todd Bertuzzi.
Yeah, he's got to be more in control. I mean, he took a bad one. That one last night, I mean, Doc got hit, and the guy who hit him got a 2-minute penalty interference. He gets 5 in the game and a 5-minute major out for interference. I've never heard of a 5-minute interference penalty before. First time I ever saw it, probably the last time I'm ever going to see it. I don't get it. If you look at the replay, I mean, nothing. And they didn't even call the penalty for a high hit to the head or anything. The guy went down like he took a shot from Oswald. And poor Jack guy is sitting there going, I mean, interference. It was a late hit. But, I mean, he really didn't get the guy's head or anything. So those referees, I don't know what the hell they were doing. But either way, that's 2 games in a row. And you know what? Marty St. Louis is a peacenik. He's a pacifist. He don't like the violence or the tough guys. And last year he got sent down for doing crap like this.
I think MSL is a lover, not a fighter, right?
He's a lover, not a fighter. He's the lover, not the fighter. But, I mean, Jack, he's going to seal his own fate here. He made it, and now he's got to If you want to blame the game on him last night, go ahead, because
Well, you can't blame. No, you can't blame the game on Jack Eye.
No, they scored 3 goals on him while he was off, and that was a penalty he really didn't have to take if you look at it,
But
regardless of whether it was interference or not.
You know what? I totally understand what Jack Eye was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with his intention. But his execution, I don't agree with.
Yeah,
okay, let's put it that way. So, as you stated, 5 minutes for interference. You've never heard of that penalty.
Never.
Correct? So,
never seen
what 5-minute penalty have you heard of?
High hits to the head, intent to injure, cross-checking across the face. There's a lot of penalties they can call majors on.
Absolutely. And I think there's
footing.
There's a band called 5 for Fighting.
Yeah.
Okay? 5 for Fighting. There's even a rock band called that. That's the penalty I want Jack Eye to take. 5 minutes for fighting. Go and find the guy who did the injustice. Take him out. Say, hey, drop your gloves. Let's go.
Yeah.
You want to lay some crappy ass shite out there on one of our players? Drop your gloves. Let's go. That's what I want to see. I want to see 5 for fighting. I don't want to see Todd Bertuzzi.
Yep. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't like dirty plays like that neither. They got to straighten the guy out. There's a time and a place to straighten him out. And late hit,
and it's on the ice with your gloves off.
Yeah, and a late hit like that. It's
and your helmet too, really.
Yeah, Jack Eye can handle himself. I don't think he's afraid of anybody in the league. So.
Absolutely.
But he's got to be smart because, like I say, St. Louis is a lover, not a fighter. He doesn't buy into this tough guy stuff, even though people push the Habs around. And we'll see what he does with Jack Eye. Maybe he'll let it go.
What MSL doesn't like about Jack Eye is taking poor penalties.
Yeah, taking stupid penalties.
And that's what that was last night. I don't think MSL is going to have a problem if somebody takes a run at one of our prized players and injures them. I don't think MSL is going to have a problem if Jack Eye goes after that opponent and said, okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's dance.
Yeah, but it wasn't Stutzel.
It
wasn't
No,
Stutzel,
but that's what I would have done. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's like when they go lower, we go higher. Did Toe Blake say that?
No, Barack Obama said that, or Michelle Obama or something.
I thought Toe Blake told that to the Rocket one night. No?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think that it was Michelle Obama.
Did she coach the Habs? No.
They won't let her over the border. Okay, so let's get to the preseason games. Right?
Do we have to?
Well, let's just talk about some good points here. We've been so negative here. We're so negative we are, right? But, let's get back to the 2 games against the Leafs. The first game I was satisfied with. We had a prospect team holding the Leafs, I call them the Loafs. The Loaf first liners to 2 goals. Dobas played the whole game and looked terrific.
Dobas was the highlight of that.
Yeah, Dobas, he played a great game, and Nettie had like a 946 save percentage or something.
I kind of would have liked to seen him play a period last night.
Yeah, me too.
To be honest.
I'd like to see him play a bit more. The youngins played their hearts out, and after all, our big guns were taking the night off that night, so it was great. The game was a little scrambled, but the kids held their own against what basically was a full Leafs lineup. I thought Beck had a really good game that game.
Yes.
He played the full ice. He played responsibly and held tight in the face-off department. And he snagged 14 minutes of ice time.
I think Beck is ready to play in the NHL. But having said that, it might be wiser to have him play more minutes in Laval, also being responsible for PP and PK.
Yeah, and he'll do well there. He's headed for the Montreal Canadiens. It's just a matter of when. Hudson worked his magic with 25 minutes of ice time that game.
He loves to stay on the ice.
And with really nobody to play with up to his level. He is a cut above most of the guys, right? And he was skating around doing stuff and everything else. Dvorak got a nice goal, but nobody else really stood out to me. It was kind of a sloppy game. Dobish turning back 32 of 34. and I would give him the nod as the best Habs on the ice.
He was the highlight, for sure.
Yeah, he was the highlight. Little did I know I would lament this team iced only 2 days later. The Hindenburg was on the horizon, and I didn't see it coming. So we go to game 2, and that's pretty
whole lot of love.
That is. That's the Led Zeppelin. The second game was the Hindenburg game, I call it. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the humanity. I have no words for what happened on Saturday except disaster. Reinbacher going to definitely play in Laval this year. Now he's going to be out 6 months. And his play has been, I don't think he's been that great. And
Reinbacher, as you said at the top of the show, is 19 years of age.
And how do you spell Reinbacher? Michkov. And if you don't figure that one out, there's a lot of people saying that. And there are no signs of brilliance. Nothing to indicate he'll ever be a star player, what a 5th round pick should be.
He is 19 years old.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Defensemen take longer to develop. I know everybody's yelling at me.
I'm not even saying that.
I am.
But
I'm hoping.
Remember Guy Lafleur?
Guy Lafleur.
He started playing for the Habs, and I think it took him to about the 3rd or 4th year to really start to put the puck in the net.
Yeah, imagine if he played defense. It might have taken him 10 years.
So I think with Reinbacher, I mean, he's only played, 3 NHL games, and 2 of them have been exhibition?
Yeah.
So come on.
That was bad enough. He needs a year in Laval.
Now he needs a year in the hospital.
Well, yeah, that's true.
À l'hôpital.
So he'll be next year in Laval.
He will be next year in Laval.
I think you're right, John. I agree.
He will be, because that's the worst thing about this particular incident, is that he loses 6 months of valuable training.
Yeah, by the time he's ready to come back, Laval will be done for the year.
Absolutely.
Could be. I mean, they might still be playing. We'll hope to get into the playoffs, right? And he was carried off, followed by our $8.7 million rehab man, Lonnie. And it looked like he was gone for the season, if not his career. But good news, he'll be back in 2 to 3 months and no surgery needed, like John said already. So that was good. This game was a total disaster. Our top line looking amateurish, going 0-7 on the power play against what mounted to loaf prospects. A sad situation indeed. Believe it or not, the Thursday night lineup, first game against the Leafs, may well have won this game.
Wow.
Yeah. And our alleged savior would still be able to skate today because he wouldn't have been on the ice. Oh, what could have been. But yeah, I didn't get much out of that game. I was pretty disappointed.
And everybody was pretty bummed out. I mean, like, if there's one image that is in my mind from that game, it's Lanny, and he's left the ice. He's starting to go down the corridor, and he realizes as well what has happened and what it means, and he throws his helmet and his glove.
In frustration.
Absolutely.
He was frustrated.
Of course. I mean,
So the good thing is, though, Hudson put on a good show. Beck was steady. He was sent to Laval on Sunday with a bunch of other players we'll talk about. But really, nobody had a good game. Sammy let in a softie on the 1-0 goal, and I wasn't paying attention to the 2-0 goal as I was looking up favorite draft picks for the 2025 draft. Oh, they drive me nuts, these Habs. So anyway, that's the Leafs. Oh, excuse me. I got to get my paper. I threw it on the ground. That's the Leafs outing for the Habs on the weekend, and they set a bunch of people down. And of course, now what do you think Hughes? This is a question for you, Johnny boy. What do you think Hughes is going to do now? Is he going to just wait for Line A to come back and start the season in January, February with getting these lines together and just keeping the season, or is he going to go out and get somebody else and maybe make a run for the wild card spot? Because it doesn't look like we're going to make it now.
So a lot of players were put on waivers, I think, on October 1st. I haven't had a chance actually to look through the list.
Well, I can tell you basically who went through it. I got them written down here. Owen Beck, Jared Davidson, Sean Farrell, Riley Kidney, Philip Machar, Jacob Perreault, Xavier Simoneau, Luke Tuck,
who already came up last night.
Yeah, he was playing last night. Florian Jacki, William Trudeau, who I thought played really good, William Trudeau, and Connor Hughes, the goaltender. They were sent down, and I think there might be a couple of others. So,
But what I'm saying is now.
Nope, that's it.
What I'm saying is now a lot of players are being put on waivers by other teams.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's anything brilliant out there for us to acquire. Are we going to make a situational trade? Are we going to be in the market for a trade? Yeah, we're in the market for a trade, but are we going to be the instigator of the trade? No, we're not going to be the instigator, but we'll be definitely open to listening and considering ideas. That's for sure. I think we have such depth of talent that we have to still decide what's the best way of bringing this talent on board, what's the best way of developing it. And because Laine isn't in the roster, he wasn't in the roster 3 months ago. So who would have been filling his position if we hadn't traded for him?
I don't know. You just stole my question. I was going to ask you.
Oh,
so if you want me to tell you who I think,
absolutely,
I would say Kapanen would be a great choice.
Yes.
Anderson would be a great choice.
Well, I think Anderson's on the team no matter what.
Yeah, he's on the team, but he could fill in on that line.
Yes.
And then we'd bring somebody else up. Or Joshua Wah.
And I think Wah's on the team as well. But the fact that Laine isn't on the team gives us an opportunity to bring another player onto the team.
Do you think
now the fact that we
go out and get one?
No, well, only if I don't think we go looking, but I don't think we do not look.
Yeah, see, I think I'd rather see one of our existing guys.
I mean, like the fact that he sent Beck down on Sunday means that Beck is not a consideration here.
Well, Beck's a center, so
yeah, but
we got Doc on that line.
You got guys like Newhook who can play center and play wing. You've got Doc who is a center, but guys, right now a lot. And if anybody, a center can go and play wing.
I think the guy who makes the most sense right now is Anderson. I mean, this guy, he's trying to rejuvenate himself. He's fast. He's big. He can play with these guys for sure.
Absolutely.
And he's been snake bit as far as scoring goals, but he did get a goal in the preseason. And maybe this is his opportunity to jump in on that line. And if he can do what he does the best, he would be a great replacement for Laine. But, we've seen Kapanen put in a great performance over the preseason. And also Heineman, he's put in a great one. And we have Joshua Wah, who's no slouch either.
Absolutely. So the players are there.
The players are there. That's my point. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just curious as to who gets added into the team that wasn't going to be on the team because Lineman was on the team.
I'd say Kapanen and Heineman have the really good shot because, like you say, Wah was already playing. Anderson's
definitely on the team.
So I'd say one of those two step in and play on the third or fourth line, to fill in, because that's where Anderson would have been if Laine wasn't there. And same with Wawa.
Exactly.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Marty plays this. And it could be, I'm thinking that what's going to happen is he's going to throw, somebody on there and see how they make out. And if there's no chemistry or they're not.
You could see Owen Beck come up in a month.
I'd like to see Owen Beck come up, but Evans put in a good performance.
Evans looks really good. He looked really good last night.
Yeah, he did. And there's another guy who isn't. I thought maybe
Evans got robbed of a goal.
Yeah, he's
last night. He scored one, but he got robbed of one too.
Yeah, he's got 1 year on his contract left, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me out there in TV land.
But again, you're going to use players like an Evans to get you through this season. I hate to say that, but we have to get through this season as we spend time developing players that we've drafted that we believe are our future. That's really where we're at. I know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, as soon as we got Laine, everybody started getting excited. Visions of playoffs were dancing in everyone's head.
Oh, in mine for sure.
And now, after that devastating Hindenburg game on Saturday,
Hindenburg,
people are looking forward to Easter and forgetting about Christmas.
Oh, the humanity. But you know what? If the Habs lineup as it stands can hold the fort until Christmas,
Hold the line.
yep. If they can do that, and we're in a good position, like sitting around the wild card spot, and Lonnie comes back, we got a real good shot at making it.
Well, yeah,
if he performs.
and we still need to see guys like Slavkovsky. Like,
Oh yeah,
we need to see him fire it up. We really do. We need to see production from him, like a 1.5 a game.
Yeah, and we're talking like the first line has to be the first line. Like we haven't seen that yet in the preseason when they played. We haven't seen a lot from them, but they have to. And I don't like to talk about the first line because I really have faith that the Suzukis and Caulfields will get out there in game situations and perform. We've seen them do that for the last 3 years. I don't think there's any doubt that Slav hasn't hit his ceiling yet. And Caulfield and Suzuki are going to be consistent performers over their career. I don't think there's any question about that. That's why I don't talk about the first line a lot. I wasn't impressed with them the other night, but preseason, what are you going to do? But I think they're going to give us the performance we need from them. But I was hoping the second line would really be the one that really shored everything up, and it still might if they can find somebody who melds in. Well, these guys.
Kirby Dach is starting to show up.
He is.
We're seeing him hit the score sheet every game, and he's like last night. There was I think it was the goal that he actually scored from behind the net. I mean, it was brilliant. It was like the Ottawa defenseman left him by himself. He was smart enough to stay behind that net, and then after everybody forgot where Kirby Dach was on the ice, make his point and make his move.
Yeah, exactly. I like Kirby Dach. I think he's going to be good. I think New Hooks are going to be good. They're going to perform. I'm not too worried about them.
Well, and that's the combination now. Like you said, the big challenge now is New Hook, Dach, and question mark.
Yeah, who complements those two guys?
And question mark.
Yeah, because the guy's going to have speed. He's going to have to be able to put the puck in the net.
He's going to have to actually maybe dig the puck out a little bit.
Dig the puck out a little bit, although Kirby Dach's good at that too. But the good thing is that we do have 3 or 4 players that could step in. And I think it's just going to be the chemistry. Who has chemistry with these two guys? And if we find somebody like Anderson or Kapanen or Heineman or Wawa,
so we'll
be good to go.
I mean, the other thing too is, goaltending we've talked about as an issue, but we think we have 2 good goaltenders, 2 solid goaltenders. So the other 2 big issues then are really the PK and the PP. So again, with so many players in training camp and trying to access how each player is doing, rating them, deciding where they should go, what are the best ways of their player development taking place. Pretty well, we have one more exhibition game on Sunday or Saturday. Let's get all that out of the way, and then we better start working on our power play and our penalty killing with the team that we're going to ice on Wednesday night
against the Lopes,
a week from today at the Bell Center.
Do you believe in God?
Right?
I'm making the sign of the cross. There's 0 for 23 on the power play. I can't say anything else. I mean, it's 0 for 23.
Is MSL the guy?
Well,
we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. He should know how to run a power play. He was on a power play that was successful. They won a Stanley Cup.
We're going to find out what happens. And it's going to be interesting. But, I mean, like last night, Ottawa scored 4 goals, I believe, on power plays.
Yeah.
And had a 5th one called back. That's the game changer.
That's the power play I want.
So exactly. So if we know that's a game changer, where do we spend our energy?
Well, on the power play.
Yes.
We're talking common sense here.
Absolutely.
But you know what? Here's what scares me. We lost the first game 2-1. We lost the second game 2-1. We lost last night's game 4-3. There's that one goal, and if we had anything on the power play and special teams, we might not lose those games.
Those
The
one goal differentials.
That's what we're talking about. And I was just thinking about that. We were so happy 5-0, 3-0, but then we run into 3 1-goal games, and we just couldn't get the tying goal. We just, we had the power plays to do. We just couldn't do it. And we're facing that same thing that we talked about that thought we were going to cure this year. And I know preseason isn't the season. Things are different in that. So I'll give you that. But still, you look at harbingers or whatever you call those things, right? Indications, omens, if you will, of things to come. And you see these 1-goal games, and you go, like, we thought we were going to cure this with our power play and Marty St. Louis and everything. And here we are again, taking a look at the same thing, going, what happened? We're 0 for 23 on the power play. Our power play, 7 tries against the Leafs in one game, 8 tries against New Jersey in the other game. And then we had 4 last night. And, if you pot one, it's a tie game and you go into overtime. And 1 out of 4 is 25%, and that's where we want to be.
Absolutely.
Right? Out of 8 power plays, that's 2 goals.
Yes.
We win the games. We don't go into overtime. So, just something to look at and say,
So I just checked my telephone.
And what did Marty say?
And it says that Jack Guy has avoided suspension after questionable hit.
Of course he has, because it wasn't a headshot. It was interference. That's what they called it on the ice.
So that's good to hear.
Well, that's good to hear.
And then the next headline I read is that many NHL regulars suffer significant injuries during the preseason.
And that's my point. Don't play these guys. They don't need training. Here's my thing. Forget about this baloney. This is baloney preseason. Start the season when they would start the preseason. Start it early, finish it early, and don't put these star players out there. P.K. Subban said it the best. He goes, I don't go to these games to watch Pare play. I go to watch Laine play. I go to watch the stars play. And you start wiping these out and not protecting them, then why go to games?
What was he doing there on Saturday then?
Oh, he was looking pretty good. That Joseph in the Technicolor raincoat jacket he had on.
I think he's trying to set that trend. He's like, Laine, you're not taking my city.
Yeah. He had that Joseph in the Technicolor raincoat.
I own the fashion of this city. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so but that's what he said, and he's right. I mean, nobody goes to watch these beer league players play. They go to see the stars.
Did you see there were holes everywhere in the seats? There's nobody there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's preseason, right?
Exactly.
And when was he there? He was there against the Leafs, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
so to lose that many valuable players when it doesn't matter, your point is very valid.
Yeah, well, that's why that game, the one when our top line played in Toronto, was packed, and then you come to Montreal and they're playing their prospects or whatever. So that was our first line playing on the second game in Montreal. I think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was the other one they weren't playing, but there was no Leaf big names there. Matthews.
They don't have any big names, do they?
Well, the ones that they call big names.
Oh,
they like to call these guys big names, but they're really not. And but they weren't there, so it was just their prospects against the
nobody wants to do the travel if they don't have
to. That's right, but I think they should just get rid of preseason. Preseason had a thing when Gump Worsley played, because these guys drank beer all summer and hung around the beach.
When they showed up at training camp, they were right out of shape.
They needed training.
Totally out of shape.
They needed training.
Nowadays, everybody's in shape 24/7, 365.
And they only get 2 months off. I mean, they finished, June 20th or somewhere around there.
Yeah, and then they train. Train on those months.
Yeah, July and August, and they're back in these challenge games and everything else, and then they're back in training camp.
But they're doing training. It's not on ice training, but they're training
all year. All year they do it. I mean, even during the summer. So they don't need these preseason games. Let's just start the season early and get rid of this gimmick. I mean, the gimmick is to put 6 or 7 more games.
The gimmick is to have games generating money.
Yeah. But,
So lengthen the season.
Yeah, if all your star players are out, I mean...
lengthen the season then.
I agree. I agree. Lengthen the season. Well, no, I would just say let's start in September and no more preseason. Start in September and run it till April, the playoffs, and it'll finish by June maybe June the 1st or 2nd, which is fine.
So just like start the season like back 2 weeks ago. That's all.
Yeah. When the preseason starts, they don't need this training and everything, and then you keep your star players to play the games that matter. Like to get anybody injured, and that just goes for every team. It's just a shame to see guys go off that are the big names on your team, for no reason.
And I'll say this too. I mean, there's definitely a number involved somewhere where you're going to play players too many games, too much at the skill level, at the speed that we play hockey at now, and there will be injuries. So either be prepared for that or realize that you can't exert that much pressure on the human body, basically.
Exactly. So an interesting note over in the KHL, your buddy Demidov, who was playing great for the SKA St. Petersburg team and making KHL history,
Très bien.
Was benched by his coach for taking a tripping penalty.
Jack guy.
Which is leading to the Habs management thinking he may not be getting the developmental help he needs to take the next step to the NHL in the KHL. He's also not getting the ice time he needs. He's been close to a point a game player so far while being relegated to the fourth line. So Habs are starting to be concerned about his development in the KHL. And I got to wonder, are they going to try to rescue him and get him over here playing for Laval?
No.
And send him to Pascal Vincent for development?
We have so many players that we shouldn't be worried about this guy right now. Wait till he gets to North America and he's ready to play. Let's deal with the players we have. I mean, like Jack guy. Jack guy could be a huge contributor to this team. Last year, we sat him down and said, listen, you're going to Laval because you don't know how to not take penalties. Like you keep taking penalties every time you get on the ice. Well, guess what? We're back to square one.
Yeah.
So obviously, if we can't control that situation here, why are we worried about that situation not being controlled somewhere else?
No,
we need to get our act together first here in North America.
But wouldn't you like to see him develop properly?
Yeah, I'd like to see Jack guy develop properly. Well, no, absolutely.
But Demidov.
Of course, Demidov is a huge asset to us. Demidov will be shining with the Montreal Canadiens a lot longer than Jack guy. No disrespect.
Well, you know what? I have to agree with you there.
But
yes, I agree.
The bottom line is take care of business at home and then go elsewhere.
That sounds like
that's my feeling.
Like a marriage.
That's my feeling. Love and marriage.
Yeah, this sounds like a marriage right there. But yeah, you got a good point about that. I mean, we have a lot of prospects, top prospects now, and they do need to be developed properly so we can get them up and playing for the Habs when we need them. That's what's called depth.
Absolutely.
So let's do it. Now, we got to get to the troisième étoile de la semaine dernière.
Yes.
And I'll give you my picks. Nobody.
Well, I mean,
I got nothing to say about that. I got a big zero on my picks. Look at it. I got a big zero. I didn't pick these three because there weren't 3 stars. But I will say this. Hats off to the fans that put up with this crap. See you in 2025 draft.
I love.
I was mad when I wrote that. By the way,
yeah, I love the support that MSL has shown to Lene and how he's spoken about how they've tried to onboard this player and taking him into the family.
Oh, look at that! Look it up there.
That makes.
Does that mean anything? A big X in the sky. Are they trying? Is this some kind of sign from Rick Rose?
Is X-Men?
Look at that. There's a big X up in the sky.
Huge X there, yes.
That's bizarre. Anyway, I hate to we got distracted.
No problem. So, I mean, MSL continues to focus and develop the team, and is striving to make the best out of a bad situation.
So, is he your third star?
He's one of my stars.
Okay, good. Yeah.
He's one of my stars.
Glad you have him.
I'm really loving Dobish. Is
that your deuxième étoile?
He is definitely a star as well. I mean, he played, I thought, an excellent, solid game the other night for the Canadians.
He did. I will give him that.
Extremely impressed, and it's nice to have him in our pocket. Let's put it that way.
Do you think now he may replace Primo as the backup?
No, it's going to be Montembeault Primo.
Okay,
no doubt about that. But it's nice to know that we have a guy who can come into the NHL and play and give us a solid 60 minutes between the pipes.
Yeah, you never know. There's injuries.
Well, exactly. You know?
And they may bring him up for a few games, just if they for whatever.
And then the fact that we have so many players who are fighting to get into the lineup. The Kapanens,
Heinemann,
Jake Evans,
Engstrom,
all of those players, Struble. They're all trying. They're trying to play their best hockey, and that's what I'm appreciating right now.
So, what do you think about the defense? Who's going to be on the defense? We know Savard.
Well, Matheson and Savard are on the defense.
Let's see. Savard.
Matheson, Savard.
Here, we're doing this as we're live. We're doing this live. We're figuring this out live.
Gooley,
yeah, he'll be on the
he'll be there. And I
think Matheson.
I think Struble would be there.
Okay, Struble.
I think Mailloux. And who's the other one?
Hudson.
No. Who? Not Kapanen.
Well, we've got what's his name? Engstrom.
I think Engstrom is going to be on the defense.
That guy.
Yep.
So we're going to have 3 rookie defensemen.
Mailloux, Engstrom,
and Hudson. That's going to be your 7, you think?
I don't know.
Are we missing somebody? No, you got Struble.
Yeah, you're missing somebody. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gooley.
You're missing a big player, actually.
Yeah, who the heck is that? Gooley. You know what? I'm drawing a blank. We talk about this every day, and here we are. We're just drawing a blank on the Hodge defense.
Well, Jack Guy.
Jack Guy.
Is Jack Guy going to be there?
Well.
And is Barron going to be there?
Barron, that's right. And
those are the two.
Rusty Barron.
So Barron and Jack Guy.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
I mean, if I'm MSL, I think I'm playing Jack Guy on Saturday night to see what he can do.
Okay, now check those guys off.
So Matheson, Savard for sure. Gooley, I would play Struble. I would play Mailloux, and then if Jack Guy can play a good game on Saturday, he might be on the team because I think he was on the team before training camp started. And I think Barron will be on the team as well. I think you might see
7 defensemen. They're going to carry 7 defensemen.
Yeah, I think they're going to carry 7, and I think you're going to see
Hudson
and the other guy Engstrom. I think they might not make the team.
Yeah, well, see, I think
Hudson's going to make the team soon.
And I think for now it's Jack Guy, unless Marty's really PO'd at him and is going to send him down. But I think Jack Guy will be there too. So Savard, Gooley, Matheson, Struble, Mailloux, Hudson, and Jack Guy.
Yeah, I mean one of these 7 guys.
Yep, and Barron and Engstrom will be on the bubble.
Yeah, and one of those 7 guys will be sitting in the box, like sitting upstairs on game night.
Yeah, I think Jack Guy's safe for now, but he's going to have to really. Like I say, Marty don't like this kind of stuff, and he might just send him down for what he calls conditioning.
Well, the bottom line is we have to have, we can't, bad penalties are just not good penalties.
No, that's it. And we can't afford them, especially when our power play isn't that great.
I mean, when Jack Guy goes and takes a guy out like that, who doesn't have the puck, really, who isn't got any chance of being a goal scorer, and then creates a situation where we have a 5-minute PK and 3 goals are scored against us.
Doesn't look good.
What do you say? It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think you have to say anything. He knows, if Marty, Marty's definitely on the fence with this guy as it is. But I mean, Jack
Guy's done this 2 games in a row.
Yeah, so I mean,
I understand what he's trying to do, but like I said, there's a way to do it, Five for fighting.
Got to be smarter.
5 for fighting.
Yep, you got to be smarter. And on that note, we are going to bid you adieu, unless you have anything else.
Well, yeah, I mean, this weekend I'm going to the Cicada Music Festival.
What the hell's that?
So the Cicada Music Festival is an all-Canadian music festival being held here in Port Dalhousie.
Oh.
Okay? It's run by a family named Lep. Their father was always a big music fan and always tried to do a music festival. He passed away sadly a few years back, and the sons continue to do this festival in his honor. And they also give back to the community. They employ a number of local event restaurants, procurers of potables at the event. So they help out local as well, and great guys, and they have that culture of family, and so they're much like the Habs in that respect.
Oh, there you go.
So it's a great festival. I'm going to go see it.
Way to bring that all together. I like it.
Merci beaucoup.
I liked it.
And so Serena Ryder is on the bill on Saturday night, and I believe Big Wreck is the headliner on Sunday. And there's one other band I think I have to mention if I can get my phone open.
It isn't Rush, is it?
No. And it's not the Hip either. But,
well, I mean, Getty Lee.
That could happen one day. We don't know when.
And what's his name? Neil Peart is right from there. They got the tribute to him
from Port Dalhousie. Half Moon Run are the headliners on Saturday. Death from Above 79 are there. There are a ton of Canadian acts there. So if you're in the area and you don't want to watch Ottawa play the Habs on Saturday night, come out and see Half Moon Run and Serena Ryder.
Yeah, well, that ain't gonna happen. I'm watching the Habs. You know that I get out of everything watching the Habs, so I love the Habs.
Absolutely.
If it's on TV, I don't do anything. I plan around the Habs games.
Now
somebody says you want to go out for there's something to do this, go out to dinner. No, unless we're home by the time the Habs game starts.
Certainement.
Yep. I plan my schedule around them. So, yeah, I won't be going to Cicada Fest. I'll be watching the Habs ply their trade on Saturday night against Ottawa.
Well, remember Cicada's on Sunday, too, so you can always come and see Big
Well, I probably won't do that neither.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't go far. I watch the Habs and read stuff and watch politics and stuff. But I'm sure it's going to be good. They've been having this for a long time. This has been an ongoing event for years and years.
And it's growing every year. And like I say, it's a family event as well. It's during the day, during the evening. A lot of kids show up. It's a great environment.
It's going to be like the, what do you call that one out in California? The
big.
Not the Burning Man Festival.
There's
another one out
there. The Burning Man. Coachella.
That's what I'm thinking of. Coachella Festival.
It's a mini Coachella.
Yeah, it is. Anyway. My name is Paul K. Lemire. We're getting out of here. This is Habsolutely. I got it right by the end of the show. And John, I was mad when I came in here and upset about everything that went on, but I feel a lot better now.
I hope I cheered you up.
You have a calming influence on me. I'm the guy who flies off the handle. John is the voice of reason. And by the end of it all, it's all worked out and I feel a lot better. It's my therapy.
C'est
my
très bien.
Therapy. And, it's
the best.
And it's free.
It's the best.
I don't have to go to a shrink.
Je m'appelle Jean-Louis Filion.
And I'm Paul K. Lemire. This is Habsolutely. We'll see you next Wednesday for show number 101.
Au revoir, mon ami.
And we're going to be talking about the game that night against the Loafs, which I personally predicted Patrick Laine would score a goal and get an assist in. That shatters that dream, but I still think we're going to win this game. I really, really do.
I can't wait for next week.
Me neither. Have a good one, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week at noon on Habsolutely.
Ciao, ciao.